Good morning, everyone. Um, okay, we are going to put this music off now. We have this very, very nice music, me and Hendrik in the morning to relax. So, hi everyone. My name is Anya. You already probably know who I am. I'm a co-founder of Conscious Business Club, and today we have Conscious Business Club Ambassador Stock, and with us is amazing Hendrik from Conscious Business, who will tell us more about what is his mission, what is he doing, and why we created this amazing synergies between our two organizations. And first of all, I would like to invite everyone who is watching at the moment to just comment in like above this below this video, so we will see that you are there. And I will reshare this video because it's streaming on Conscious Business Club LinkedIn. And I will reshare it now also on my personal profile. And Hendrik will do it also on other profiles. So more people will be able to see it. Um, but yeah, today's topic is conscious business. Who would think, huh, Hendrik?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So, would you be so kind and just introduce yourself a little bit to our viewers, everybody who
Mhm.
is watching now live, and everybody who will be watching the recording later? So,
Yeah,
the stage is yours.
thank you. Well, you can read my name, Hendrik Jan van Es. I'm calling in from Amsterdam. The important thing is that's why we're here. I'm a co-founder of Conscious Business. I founded a lot of stuff, but this is my main focus and my purpose in life. Uh, because purpose is a very central thing in conscious business anyway. So yeah, there has to be my personal purpose as well, which is pretty much the same, I think, as conscious business. So I can give you the short version of it. I think conscious business sees it possible that you can do well for all your stakeholders as a business, all your stakeholders. So you don't make any profit at the expense of anything or anyone. And yeah, spreading that is my purpose. That's the short version. Um, yeah, and what I always like to add is it's doing better for all your stakeholders, including the shareholder. You can do better for them as well. So, in my opinion, you're actually pretty stupid when you're not doing this way of doing business 2.0. So yeah, that's what keeps me busy.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I think that conscious business is quite hype word, these days, but not
Mhm.
everybody really gets it because
No.
they think, oh yeah, it's just another word, that you're using, and it doesn't really have any effect. But yeah, what would you say are the core principles of conscious business? Also, based on your work.
Yeah, well, we derived it from conscious capitalism, which is from the US. So we brought it to Europe. Um, and maybe it's good to give a little bit of context from my own experience. Um, because, yeah, I always liked great ideas. So the first business I started was a internet auction. Um, and that made it possible to actually sell directly from the location of a bankrupt company to the end user. So getting all the steps in between out. And at the time, they thought we were crazy doing it that way because it wasn't supposed to work that way, and now it's the standard. So yes, you can change a way of working completely, and this was pretty simple. Maybe this is much more conscious business. The way of doing it is much more difficult, but also, yeah, conscious business is also a great idea. Um, but in the meantime, me getting a little bit older, it's not only about the great ideas; it's also it has to come from the heart. And I think also that's where the difficulty is. It's not so difficult to understand, but to really be it and live it may be the harder thing. So that's why it takes a little bit more time and is more complex, I think, than um, just a good idea, which you can understand and then done. Um, so yeah, you are asked for the principles. Well, the principles are derived from conscious capitalism, which we changed to conscious business because if you talk about capitalism in Europe, you already have a difficult conversation. Um,
So we would like to mention here that Thomas is also ambassador of Conscious Business
I
School.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah.
a good
So
friend. Yeah,
exactly, he's
yeah,
amazing, and yeah. So it's like everything is so connected, and I'm really, really
yeah.
happy, that we got this on the common ground, and we are building this together. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you.
no, but that's definitely the other thing. We're all pretty small initiatives. Looking at the huge thing we are tasking ourselves to, so we better team up.
Yeah,
Um, and I think networks
the
are
more the merrier. The more the
the
merrier.
more the merrier, and the more effective.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we can learn from each other. Let's use what the other one has built up. Let's not try to imitate or improve what they. The improving is good, but uh, let's cooperate the most. I think that's the most
There's
effective.
no competition. It's
No,
only collaboration,
exactly,
co-creation. I call it co-creation.
exactly. That's totally it. Yeah. So yeah, we borrowed the principles
Yeah.
and also gave it the European context, which is definitely different from the American or
US.
even South America. Europe is in that way, well, I wouldn't say more conscious, but in many ways more social.
Mm-hmm.
So for some, they don't, they already think they're pretty conscious, but there's still a lot to do. And to make it more tangible, what are the principles? There's no order to it, but there is a logical way of explaining them. And then it would start with higher purpose. And a higher purpose is one of those words which has been overused. Um, I'm sorry for that, but it really has good content when you actually bring it into your whole organization. And that's often what's missing. Higher purpose is something which is already there, so it's often connected to the founders. And the essence is that it defines how you are going to make the world a little bit better when you're done with it.
Yeah. Creating
Um,
an impact, a positive impact.
a
Yeah.
positive impact. Yeah, so it's something actionable. You can put it into action. You can connect goals to it, and you can get closer to it all the time. And the important thing is it's something cool. It's something that people connect to. That they say, "Wow, this is something I want to be part of." And it also really connects to my own purpose if they know what it is. But you will feel it. Your heart will jump up and say, "This is cool. This is what I want to do too." So as a stakeholder, an employee, or whoever, you will recognize if you like it, and it will energize you. You will be connected. You can do the thing you really want to do. So that's already one of the success factors of what unconscious business is. You have something which people like, which makes them enthusiastic, which makes them come out of their beds. So that's why you see a really high engagement in conscious businesses.
Mm-hmm.
People love to work there and to do what they want to do. But it's also an organizing principle. Um, it's something where you want to go. So if your decisions or ideas are not in that same direction, you know this is not the right the way to go. So is it
Yeah.
in line or isn't it? Sometimes it takes quite a bit of conversation to find out, or is it indirect or direct? But you'll know. Um, so there's many aspects to this purpose thing to actually bring that in the organization. How does it align to my products? How does it align with my stakeholders? All those things. So bringing it into your organization is also something which takes time, and that's I think another important aspect of conscious business. It's not something you do overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other thing is the leadership, conscious leadership. Business only gets as conscious as the leadership is. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so if they don't show it, if they don't live it, it's not going to
You
work.
cannot fake it. It's not fake it till you make it here.
No,
Because
absolutely
it's
not.
gonna, yeah,
No.
yeah.
People will
Yeah,
know if you
that's
fake it, and if you say one thing and do the other thing, it's very harmful.
yeah.
You will kill trust, and trust is a big issue. If there's no trust in the organization, it doesn't work anywhere. So yeah, you really have to show it. People
Yeah.
already have to understand it before you say something. Uh,
Integrity. Yeah.
integrity, big thing, definitely. Yeah, and also leaderships. I don't want to narrow it down too much because in the end, it's something which disperses through the whole organization.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Amazing.
not that one person anymore. It's disperses. Everyone is a leader. They know where to go. It's connected to their purpose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone is a leader actually. I mean, we are managing our own lives, we are
yeah.
leaders of our own lives. And if we are not, yeah, if we are not managing that, okay, we cannot manage other people or like, lead other people. So
Yeah. We can't lead
this is like,
ourselves, and so we can't lead others. And
exactly,
and if it's not
exactly,
authentic, they're not going to follow.
exactly,
No.
absolutely.
So you have to be a whole person also here. No, you can't
Yeah.
be just this official doing this. You have to be there with your whole being.
Mm,
Um, so working on yourself is a big thing there, and get all the bad stuff out. So that's the leadership part. Then you have the culture,
mm-hmm.
and I often also connect organization with it. Often businesses which get more conscious usually get also more self-managing. You need more space. They're organizing principles. People take their responsibility, so it's also possible. Which also means you need less management, which it makes it cheaper to run the organization. So that's another automatic win, which often built in. Yeah, and building the right culture. There are also organizing principles in there. What are our values? Which is what is important to us as a business. If we make decisions or go in certain direction, does it connect to those values? It's a whole different conversation you have with people. If also when you hire them, what is important to you? What are your
Oh,
values?
I know that process. I know that process.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Yeah.
you get to know people on a different level,
Mm,
and that's important when you want to pick up speed. You know if you can trust somebody or what somebody's ideas, principles, values are. And there's a lot to it. But these are usually the principles, the pillars. I see them as lids on jars. So
mm-hmm.
you know which lid to take off if that's important. And then there's a whole lot of stuff in that jar. But at least you know where to look. And
Yeah.
people usually know under which lid to look. Um, if I ask them, okay, where in your company, what are you doing well and what's not going so well, they quickly know.
Yeah.
And that's
Sometimes they don't want to sometimes they don't want to tell it, say it, or like,
yeah,
face the
possibly.
challenge. So this is also huge milestone for them, to be able to accept the fact what is going on in their company. This is also one conscious step that they can take. First embrace it, recognize it, and embrace it.
Yeah, and that's I think also the nice. You're totally right, of course. And that's also the nice thing. In the beginning, it seems superficial.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's in that direction,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you start digging deeper.
Digging. Yeah.
And also with culture, it sounds still as something that we have in the company. But in the end, it's the people who define the culture. So in the end, it's you.
Absolutely.
So where it's something abstract, sort of abstract in the beginning, it boils down to who you are and what you show and how you connect. So you
There's
slide into it.
Yeah, a lot
Um,
of people, they don't see this connection, because usually it's like they start with the profit. Oh, yeah, we are not productive enough, or like
mm,
something is wrong, like relationships in our team are not, the way it's supposed to be, or something like that. But when you really dig down, like when you go deeper, yeah, you find the challenge, and you find the solution. uh,
yeah,
this is not the surface level type of
no,
leading a business. Yeah.
yeah. So if we're talking about of leadership, it's also about courage.
Yeah.
So it's the courage to really look into the mirror and
Hmm.
also recognize, okay, I'm actually the one blocking the process or
Yeah.
holding it back or for whatever reason. So yeah, lots to it. But to go through the different pillars, well, you will get to the stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's an important one, of course. Like I explained in the beginning, a conscious business tries to do well for all its stakeholders. Not only the shareholders, all of them. Everybody gets their thing. So everybody should thrive. In my opinion, also, a company gets as strong as the weakest stakeholder. So you better take care of all of them. Then you're really resilient, and but it will also lower your risk. So you usually see the value of these companies go up. Um, they usually anticipate in certain areas where things can go wrong. It could be something environmental. Okay, there are more droughts, so we need to get rain during winter to be able to produce during summer. Um, Simply because they think it's the right thing to do, but then it's also the clever thing to do. Um, and what's more, for example, if you look at the suppliers, most companies now still look, what can I get from them? Whereas conscious business turns around a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
more
it's
co-creation, yeah.
yeah. So now, and if go one step beyond, what do you need from us? What
Yeah,
can we help you with? So basically,
yeah,
you start making each other successful.
yeah, exactly.
And that's a lot more powerful than trying to pull something out of somebody. Uh,
For very low price, yeah, like
the
usually
lowest
it's like,
price,
yeah, yeah,
probably doing it with somebody else the next year. So, and if your supplier knows that, they won't share their best ideas because you will
mm,
take them and bring them somewhere else. So it's long-term relationships which you build up yourself based on trust again. Um, Quite different from the standard procedure of doing RFQs every year and picking the cheapest.
you know
Uh,
that saying, we rise by lifting others.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's that's the principle. Yeah,
exactly.
and but it's a very tangible thing. This might sound a bit woozy, maybe to business people, um, but if you really get your customers in cooperation, or your suppliers, or your shareholders on board, this is what we really want to do. This is important to us, and they are behind that, and you have a good relationship, a long-term relationship. You really start to help make each other's purpose
Mm.
come true, um, and that's powerful. That brings a lot of energy to these companies, and in the end, and that means that they get more profitable.
Yeah. I
Um,
would like to emphasize something here, like for whoever is watching, because it's like whenever we are talking about conscious business, whenever we are talking about heart-centered leadership or heart-centered business, they think, like, oh yeah, money, they don't really focus on money. But it's not like that. Of course, there needs to be a profit. Yeah,
yeah,
it is about money because no company can survive without money. If you have a business, you have to make a sales. Yeah, you have to generate money to pay, of course, to pay suppliers, to pay your own people, in the company. Yeah, and to have a good life. So it is about the money, but the path to there, yeah, like the
yeah.
journey is, and the tools that are used are different. They are not manipulative. They are not like this. It's a high level of integrity. There's inner, deep work, of every single individual in the company, because it all coming, it's all coming from every individual.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would just like to emphasize that, because this is the myth. It's like conscious business, oh, that means no money. Oh, now
No,
we're not
the
thinking of
contrary
that
is
way.
true.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but money becomes a means to an end.
Yeah,
It's not an end in itself anymore.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and since you mobilize so much stuff, it's you get more of it, and this is great because it's a means to an end, and the end is your purpose. The thing how you are improving the world a little bit in your way, and at the same time helping all your stakeholders. So the more profit, the better, because you have more possibility to realize your purpose.
Yeah, and
Um,
also, Uh-huh. Okay, John, it is about money. Challenge is doing good by doing well. You see, there's we have
Exactly.
one, yeah, we have one comment. And the thing is that it is about money. Of course it is about the money. Because we live in the world where we cannot do anything without the money. So like whoever is saying differently, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, you live in an illusion.
No.
And money is energy anyway. It has to circle. But what I would like to also emphasize is like how I see it as well. Conscious businesses, they can really set up also like multiple income streams, like
Mhm.
multiple businesses. Like it's just like spreading. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw that there's like so much trust. Like when money starts generating, it also starts coming from different sources. Have you seen this?
Yeah, well, in the sense that once you have a purpose, you want to realize that. And
Yeah,
sometimes that means that you have to change your business model.
yeah, yeah,
And you get creative around that and innovative.
exactly. Yeah,
So that also means reaching new groups of clients. So in that sense, yes, new ways open up.
hmm,
You see new possibilities,
yeah.
and that
Because
also
you're more creative. You expand your awareness. You
yeah,
expand your consciousness, and you see different opportunities. But also you attract different business partners. Like there's more business.
yeah,
Seriously, there is more business.
yeah. I think people who well, um, when you're focused on the problems, you attract problems, and when you're focused on the opportunities, opportunities will arise. That sounds maybe a bit not very grounded, but it does work that way.
Yeah,
It happens where the energy is. Um, so yeah, with conscious businesses, they get very innovative, which also means spin-offs and spin-outs.
yeah,
Yeah, apart from
amazing.
the amazing products they develop themselves.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely,
Yeah,
yeah. So I
conscious
think
business,
those are
they have a
the
high level of innovation,
yeah,
innovation level, because they're more creative. Because individuals who are working on themselves, they have they have like I would say access, to this realm of ideas, if I can express myself this way.
yeah, and keep it simple. When it comes to leadership, when you rise in the organization, leaders start to talk more
Yeah,
in general, but the conscious leader listens more, and you learn when you listen,
yeah,
especially when
it's
you do
true.
deep listening. Um, then you create stuff. Um, so that's also something the other way around.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
amazing.
and if you really connect, you really take the time um, to learn from each other, and
Mm,
that gives rise to new ideas and new possibilities.
yeah,
Um,
co-creation.
again, co-creation, yes, yeah.
Perfect. So now let's talk about conscious business scan, because I absolutely love this tool.
Hmm.
And we are going to present it now. You can just present it a little bit like questionnaire, maybe, some questions.
Hmm.
We can also say, I mean, to everybody who is watching from Slovenia,
Hmm.
there is already available in Slovenian language, but there are also different languages, yeah, that companies can take this test. And then they get a 12-page report. It's generated report, like on very professional level. So yeah, if you can say a little bit about conscious business scan, and then I'm going to share the report as well.
Yeah,
That would.
yeah. Well, the scan basically shows you where you are as a business in on the four pillars. So how well you do. So everybody's somewhere already, every company, and it's good to know where you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is the link is to the English one.
Yeah, this is the English one.
Yeah,
This is consciousbusiness.com for
yeah,
everybody who will be checking. And yeah, and you have the link. But I also posted, I think yesterday I posted the link also on my LinkedIn profile, and you can check there, because it's like
yeah,
it's really something that you should take. It's only like 12 questions, but they are like
Mhm.
super, super effective, and they give you a lot of insight. So it will not take you more than 5 minutes or something like that. But I would
Yeah,
really
I think a little
recommend
bit more, but and the
10.
reason,
Yeah.
well, it's 21 statements,
Mm-hmm.
which have 5 options, um, and they are in a superseding order.
Yeah.
So the first one is the least conscious, and the last one the most conscious. So it's easy to trick yourself if you want to do that, but the only one you will
Then
be tricking
you
is
have to
yourself.
think about, yeah, you have to be honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
So what we often hear is from listen, I read through the statements and I can clearly see we are on the third one, and
Yes.
it's very interesting to see that we can. There's actually a fourth and a fifth option.
Wow.
So it would be great to be there. So it's also a way of inspiring people to see, okay, there's more possible. So if you go through the 21 statements and you answer them all, you get a good first idea of where you are on the four different pillars, and how you do with your 6 different generic also stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you get out of the report as an overview from your company. And maybe good to give the scan a little bit of more context, why we developed it. Well, we started in English. It's also available in Spanish, in Italian. It's going to be there in German. It's not there in Dutch because Dutch people, we thought, well, then they can do it with the English one. But maybe eventually that one too. And yeah, more and more in the end. And for us, it's basically the first step on a journey. So I'm a company. I know things need to be different because we can't keep up the way we did it. And now I want to find out how we can do that. And I think conscious business is still one of the most effective ways because you can do it step by step. I think that's also an important aspect. It's not something you either do or don't. It's something you can start and you can grow into and do it step by step. So this is the first step. Where am I? I go through the 21 statements. I get my report. The report explains also a little bit how the model works, like the pillars I just mentioned. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you can go through the fourth page where you can see this
Here we
one.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you've got an idea of what it looks like when where your company could be. So this one
Mm-hmm.
is somewhere in the middle of everything. They're pretty good in leadership, so that's a good start, because leadership either makes it possible or not. Um, so when leadership is ahead of the rest, it's good. Uh,
Yeah.
in lots of companies, you see the opposite, that the employees are actually more conscious than the leadership, because they're too focused on their bonuses or satisfying the shareholders, which is often then pretty short term. And then you see the reverse, which is also interesting to see. So yeah, here you have your overview. Um, and the scan is a starter, because it explains you a little bit how the conscious business works. It gives you an overview of what it looks generically, but
Mm-hmm.
still you need to have a conversation with, for example, with you, Anya. How does it really look like for my company in depth? So if we talk about conscious leadership, how conscious is it really? What do you do? What are your practices? If you say we do something on purpose, what is your purpose? How well is it lived? So then you start defining what does it really look like, and where are your short-term wins and the low-hanging fruit. So then you get an idea as a business based on your report. Okay, this is where we are now, and this is our possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you still think this is something for us, then you should start making a plan.
Yeah.
That would be the third step in the whole journey. Uh, what would our company look like when we are a conscious business? So to give you to get a first idea of what the purpose could be, what kind of values do we have, how does it translate in our business case, etc., etc. Um, and what we think is important as conscious business is that business leaders learn from other business leaders.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about consultants. It's something you have to do yourself. You can be supported, but you have to do it yourself. So for that, we organize circles where business leaders, in a moderated way, get together. We build a container of trust, so everything can be talked about. It also very much comes from the fact that there are conscious businesses, of course, but they're still alone at it. And it's also a bit scary. And it helps a lot when you hear from others, hey, we are also down this path, and this is how we solved it, and these are the issues we ran into, and that you realize actually they're much more advanced than we are. So what am I scared of? So let's move this. Or this is an issue I can't solve. Can you help me? So that's really the idea of the circle, that people inspire each other, learn from each other, and help each other moving ahead.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why do you think that companies are scared? I mean, company leaders, like because they don't want to be perceived as weak or, like very soft or vulnerable. What would you say?
yeah, I think the most important thing is that it's different. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the beaten path, and that's always difficult to divert from, which can lead to criticism from, especially when it's not immediately successful. Then you may have shareholders who say, "What the fuck are you doing? Why do you spend so much on, I don't know, on your employees? Why do you make it self-managing or whatever you're doing?" Um, it also needs investments,
Yeah.
and it's not always clear that those investments immediately pay back. So there has to be a little bit of trust or deeper understanding why you do it. Um, Having your employees on a more engaged level um, is great, but where does it lead to? It's not
Mm-hmm.
something. It's not a hard number in profit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yes, you can translate it, of course, because the number of people leaving the company can go down, which saves you a lot of money in hiring and loss of knowledge. Or you attract talent, which is also very valuable. But it's not so easy to always directly put that in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if others can say, "Hey, we did this, and this were the effects," it's convincing because they talk out of experience,
Yeah.
and it helps.
Absolutely. So if we, for example, if we think about different businesses in today's world, like what would you say? I know that there are a lot of conscious businesses already. For
Hmm.
example, I don't know, like if we mention Patagonia, I mean that is conscious business. Yeah, that is
Yeah, that's the
uh,
most standard, well-known example, I think. In the
exactly, but
world.
there are so many more. I know because I was doing research, but they are not like I don't know, in the media. They are not like everywhere. But they are creating huge impact.
Mhm.
And how I see it is like whenever I was watching the videos or like presentations or whatever, it was so laid back. It was so fun, like they radiated, like the leaders, founders, they radiated this energy of like
Mhm.
lightness. And yeah, they are generating millions or billions or whatever, but still it's like it's different energy. Like, do you see that as well?
Yeah, I think, well, when people light up, when their eyes start to sparkle,
Yeah,
you know you've hit something.
yeah, exactly.
Um, uh, and I can remember I did a course and somebody was talking about dogs and the way they were bred, hunting dogs. And this person was so completely enthusiastic about the subject, you couldn't help being drawn in, even if the subject, you couldn't care less for the subject.
Yeah,
Enthusiasm attracts, that radiance attracts. So if you're with a bunch of people bringing that together, yeah, it's amazing. Um, and that's also the big difference when people talk about their business and they're really it's really in line with their purpose that they start to radiate. Uh,
yeah. And especially if a founder or a leader, can transmit that energy to the
Yeah,
team, to
yeah,
employees. This is where it happens, like the magic happens, how I see it. Yeah.
yeah. And
um
the other thing is true too. If it doesn't happen, everybody's got it somewhere, but not at the same place. So if you're
yeah,
in a place where it doesn't work for you, you're in the wrong place.
exactly. Yeah,
So if you get explicit about it as an organization, there will also be people who do not connect to your purpose, because they will be connected somewhere else.
yeah.
Um, so it's also a self-cleansing way of working, and which
Hmm.
is great because those people will never be really successful and really happy in the space they are now.
I mean, sooner or later they will, get to the point. It's like, hey, this job, makes me miserable,
Yeah.
so, and nobody, even though, like, even if they are super experts and they are like the best, the best team player or whatever, in the company. But when somebody is asking themselves, hey, is this good for me, or if it's not good for me, and when they realize, hey, this job is not good for me, or this team, or this is not something I want to do, even though I was really successful at it, but I don't want to do it anymore.
Mhm.
Well, companies need to be aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
It,
people have their talents, and
yeah,
the talent is not enough.
yeah,
You have to do your talent in a place where your purpose also is.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
otherwise, yeah, at first it's great to be good at what you do, and that can be enough for a while.
But if
Um,
it's not fulfilling your,
it
like your
becomes
soul,
repetitive.
then it's not gonna.
Yeah, it starts to get draining, and then in the end, you wonder why you do it,
Yeah.
but you're simply doing it in the wrong place.
Like, would you say that there are companies that they were, like traditional way, chasing profit, and like really corporate mindset, and I don't know, like micromanaging and stuff like that. But then at some point, like they became conscious. Maybe, something happened. Like, did you see this kind of transformation, or do you think that is really difficult? Like they have to start from the beginning.
Well, like I mentioned, everybody and every company is somewhere.
Hmm.
Um, but for us, and then basically you're asking who are the best companies to work with to become more conscious.
Okay, yeah, let's rephrase this question like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Um, it's much easier, of course, that when they already understand this more or less.
Hmm.
That you don't have to explain or defend, or they will know what that means, and also they
Hmm.
can grow into it, of course. Um, and that usually comes because it's some area they already do something. And if you build that out, it starts to touch other places. So, for example, I know from companies which thought it was really important to have a happy workforce, which is great. So there's lots of stuff you can do. I think it's your background also, so you know what you can do to make people more happy.
Yeah,
But being happy is something else than being motivated.
absolutely.
Um,
Happiness is a state of being.
Yeah. So there you have this very happy workforce, and they have a really good time coming to the company, but the company doesn't do any better. So then something else needs to happen. So there's an area which is missing, and that's the principle of dancing through the pillars of conscious business, and that's
Hmm.
probably something like missing purpose. There's nothing to get them motivated or that turns them on. And it needs to be also a bit scary and challenging. So if you add that, then the happiness changes into motivation, and you get a whole different kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
So you have to build from what's already there and find out where they get stuck. Um,
Usually the purpose get lost. Yeah,
That
because
is, it could be the purpose,
yeah.
but it can also be something else. I also know from very purposeful companies which changed their product
Hmm.
and did something amazing, which really attracted talent. I thought, wow, this is cool what they do. They change their product and it's now very sustainable. So I really want to work with this company. And then they found out, oh, but their culture is pretty old-fashioned and the leadership is restrictive. I can't really be myself, and they, of course, I didn't expect that based on their purpose and their business case. So
Mm-hmm.
then you see the tenant leave again, which is a waste because they cost a lot of money. Then they're being blocked somewhere else. They need to change their operating model. They need to do something about leadership. And that
Mm-hmm.
can be very difficult because then
Yeah.
leadership really needs to look in the mirror and say, yeah, actually, we are holding back the company in the way we want to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start to control, be less controlling. Hmm, quite a step. So yeah, if you don't keep going through all the pillars and keep moving up, you will go down again. So it once yeah, it's something you have to keep going at. You're never there.
Hendrik, are you familiar with Project Aristotle from Google? Have you heard about that
I heard
project?
about it, but no, fill me in.
Okay, I don't know if I will say it right. I think it was in 2012, I think so, and it was like 37, yeah, 37,000 people, that were included in this like huge research. And I think that they were focusing on finding what's that one thing, what's that factor, that
Mhm.
really influences or like affects what makes a great team. Yeah.
Mhm.
um, what is that factor that creates a great team? And the first thing was psychological safety.
Mhm.
um, so psychological safety, I think, conscious business and psychological safety, they are on pretty much the same level. I mean, one cannot exist without other, I think. um, so yeah, this is something, that's why I'm a huge advocate of authenticity. And so people can be really who they really are. And
Yeah,
if they say, hey, I'm not aligned with this purpose anymore because my life has changed, because my values has changed,
no.
that's okay. Everything is okay because it's a evolution. And I think conscious businesses are evolving faster. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Absolutely. No, there are several thoughts coming up. Yes, they evolve faster because they're more agile.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, well, psychological safety is very basic. I think
Yeah,
you can't be yourself when you don't feel safe. You're
exactly.
always trying to cover your back and looking around, so your mind is partly busy with other stuff than being what you
And
think is
focusing
important.
on, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you are not a fully functional person at that moment. And when it's something in the culture, you basically cut off part of the possibilities you have,
yeah.
a big part. Um, so yeah, if everybody feels safe to speak their mind, and also to a level where you think it doesn't feel right, and that's, for example, if you have the space to do so, people often already feel that something is wrong before they can face what really is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when people listen to that and they start poking into it, they will find out what it is. But it needs a high level of safety and trust. But once you get it to that level, um, then you know what it is and you can address it. If you see the huge problems at businesses, for example, now with Boeing, with all the issues, well, they were known in the company. There simply wasn't the safety, or it probably was reported, it wasn't listened to. Um, yeah, and then you get these huge problems. It's not something that comes into existence overnight. It probably
It's
took,
piling up. It's piling up.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
festering and then it explodes. Um, so if the safety is there, and if people have the ability to listen, which really is a talent you can learn, by the way, yeah, then those things don't happen. Or yeah, because it's already something which can be addressed. So yes, those companies get much more resilient, but also their level of risk goes down. And if you value companies, the risk decides how valuable the company is. So less risk, more value. So yeah, those are very tangible things, and I think it's important also to translate something which may be a little bit vague, like conscious business, into very translatable, tangible things, which can easily be done.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question, actually. Um, so if we are talking like if somebody is listening now or watching now, and it's like, oh, okay, we are not conscious. We don't present ourselves as conscious business yet. Yeah, maybe
Mhm.
that would be like a thought in somebody's mind, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do now conscious business scan, and we'll see, what it shows up. What
Mhm.
would you suggest for them would be like? What are the steps that you see based on your experiences? What can companies do to become more conscious, and like, and what can they expect? Like, what are the tangible results that you have seen already in companies? And
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe do you have approximately number, like how many companies already took the test, the conscious business scan?
I should have looked, but I didn't. Also
Okay.
because it's in different languages now and different countries picking it up. So that's I don't know exactly.
Yeah, no worries. We
No,
can do
and
that
and
later.
like I said, the scan is just a start. Um, after that, it really starts.
Hmm.
And for me, and I think maybe that's also how we might rephrase it. When are you a conscious company?
Yeah.
Um, and for me, that basically is when you decide you want to be one,
Hmm.
and a little bit more. So it actually define what your purpose is. How are you going to improve the world in your way? And if you have that, and if you start defining, okay, these are my next steps, and this is how I'm going to report about it, you're on your way. Um, and if you're still at a very low level, which is doesn't really mean anything to me. For me, if you are at a low level, you also have a lot of possibility to improve. Whereas you're at a very high level, you the difference you can make may be smaller. Um, and maybe not, because you're very innovative and you'll come up with new possibilities and you will go beyond what you are where you are now. Um, so yeah, that's how you start as a conscious business. Um, it's not so hard and very hard at the same time, because there has to be commitment.
Yeah, and self-awareness. I would also emphasize self-awareness. So people who have developed or grown this high level of self-awareness. So
Mm,
they actually accept the fact that they are creators.
mm,
Everything what is happening in the company, everything what is happening in their business,
mm,
yeah, they have responsibility to deal with it and to accept, and they have contributed to this state. So it's not about blaming somebody or like pointing fingers or whatever. This is not conscious. Like when you are doing this, yeah, like you are showing like three fingers to you. So
yeah.
basically, which leader, whoever is doing this, that means that he's also how can I say, they're carrying the level of responsibility, and I think this is really important. And
Mhm.
when they start thinking about this, then this is really good, path to become a conscious
Yeah.
business.
Yeah,
um
it can be from internal motivation.
mhm,
Uh, I want us to be that way. I want to do it differently. So there can be this personal thing leading to it, but it's also fine when it comes, and I think we need that in the end,
mhm,
with
from external.
yeah, with regulation and outside pressure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes too slow. Um, so now with the whole European regulation about CSRD and CSR triple D. I think that's great,
Mhm.
because now they have to define, at least they have to measure and with triple D, they have to show how to, and they are improving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can totally imagine that companies say it's another hoop that we have to jump through. This is a lot of work, and it is. If you have to measure all these things and check them out, it takes part of your workforce, which is not profitable. So it seems. Um, but if it's also a way of proving what you're doing. So if you would connect it to a higher purpose, a true higher purpose, which you took the effort to really uncover, you already have the setup on how to prove that you're doing what you're doing. So you're being authentic about it. And then all of a sudden you're changing something which is work into something which gets productive. Because, well, we know that purpose brands grow more than twice as fast as non-purpose brands. You will start attracting talent with it. So there's lots of upsides once you do it in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get to that in that way by regulation and then transforming it to something productive, conscious business, it's fine. So if it's intrinsical, yes, great, because then we already have an easy conversation. Then we can give them the words on how that works in business, something they feel. I want to do it differently, but how does that work? Then we give them the words basically,
Mm-hmm.
and steps and everything. But when they're being pushed in that way, great, then we take it from there.
Yeah, and also a few years ago, I know that there was, hype word of the century was sustainability. Yeah,
Yeah,
everywhere it was sustainability, sustainability, sustainability.
yeah.
Like, what? How do you see the connection between sustainability and consciousness? I mean, like sustainable companies, companies who are, integrating or like emphasizing sustainability, and
Mhm.
conscious businesses.
Yeah.
Do you think like every sustainable company is also conscious or not?
No.
Yeah, no,
Not
yeah,
necessarily. No,
I
what I
guess
what I see, well, you have basically two kinds of companies.
hmm
The ones which were born conscious or purposeful, at least.
yeah,
I want to. I came into existence to improve something.
yeah. And
Uh,
the leader or the owner is already, yeah,
yeah, and they can
on
be
a
very.
healing journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and that depends. For
Yeah.
example, I know from companies which have a great purpose and do something which is truly important, but leadership can still be very narrow-minded about it,
hmm
and also be well, really ego-driven, whatever. So they're not necessarily good leaders. They
hmm
really want to solve this issue and get this purpose done, but without realizing it, they do it at the expense of their employees or suppliers or whoever, because this purpose is so important to them that they forget everything else.
Everything else, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, in that way, you as a uh, social company,
hmm
you can still be very unconscious in several ways.
hmm
Um, and the other way around is true too. So it's a transformation about companies which exist already for a long time, and now they have to change. And there's pressure in regulation terms or from your clients to get more sustainable.
hmm
And sustainable for me means that you do well for all your stakeholders. It's not an environmental thing, but it's also about diversity, about inclusion, about safety, about treating your suppliers well, and also treating your investors well,
Yeah.
communicating with them in the right way. So sustainable in every way, then you are definitely a conscious company.
Amazing. Oh my God, I really enjoy conversations like this.
Yes, they're
It's
great.
really cool. It's really cool. So yeah, would you like to say anything about conscious business, like in general, where people can find you, where people can also reach out to you? You know, whoever is in Slovenia, like listening
Mhm.
now, like they will probably, contact us. I mean,
Yeah, I should.
Conscious Business Club. Yeah, it's cbc.eu. and they probably know who I am on LinkedIn. But in general, yeah, what would you say? How
Yeah,
they
well,
can, yeah, how they get in contact with you?
you can find us on consciousbusiness.com. Conscious Business is a movement, basically consisting of well, Conscious Business Club, but many others are just conscious business in different countries. In Spain, there's still Capitalismo Consciente because they're all very directly connected to conscious capitalism.
Hmm.
So there's teams around Europe, and we are also connected to South America and other teams. In the end, it's about getting businesses more conscious and supporting them directly by organizing the circles and all that kind of stuff, but also through a network of what we call catalysts, which translates to conscious consultants. The idea is to do it yourself together with other business owners or directors, CEOs. But sometimes you need a little bit of support, and then it's helpful to know whom to reach out to.
Absolutely.
So that's basically the network and the movement we're building together. And for us, it's also important that businesses really start to reach out to their stakeholders, because that's the ripple effect. That's how we really want to grow into the conscious business economy. And that's where we're going to anyway, because it's the only way. We can't be not sustainable and do well for all stakeholders in the end anymore. So the only thing is we want to speed it up and makes sure that there less harm is done. So that's our approach.
Yeah. Scaling conscious businesses.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would just like to also add that I am, like, on daily basis, I am in contact with a lot of conscious business leaders and conscious businesses. They are still hesitant to show up,
Mm.
and like publicly to talk about everything what they are doing, because they have really different mindset, like their values
Yeah.
are somewhere else. And but I love it, like everything that is happening, maybe in, I don't know, in the background, though, I would say, there are a lot of companies rising up and yeah, connecting, and leaders, amazing leaders. And also because I'm talking to a lot of people, like
Mm.
candidates or talents, I know what they want, and they want conscious businesses. They want to, utilize their talent. They want to grow. They want to develop um, in environment, in conscious environments. And this
Yeah.
is the fact. This is like, more and more people are reaching out to me. So I know
Good.
that's why I'm so comfortable of talking about this, because I know it's a fact.
Yeah, no, conscious businesses really should let the world know what they're doing and not
Yeah.
be shy about it or
Yeah.
not. Yeah, they think they're boasting, but they should do it.
Yeah.
They should show that it can be done and be proud of that. And once they make their purpose visible, others can help them with this. They will attract talent. They will speed up, and they will
Exactly. It's
inspire
going to be a
others.
ripple effect. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. It can be done. We do it. We do it this way. Do it too.
And we are doing it, Hendrik. We are doing it. Perfect. Oh my God, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all the future wins and everything that we will create together.
We will.
Uh, would you like to share some yeah, last words with
Mhm.
our audience, with whoever is watching now?
Yeah. Well, whoever sees this, we're there to support and to spread this and to make this work. This is our purpose, to really get to a conscious business economy, because it's basically good for everyone. So let's do it.
Yeah, Eva, thank you both. You are very welcome. We are so excited to inspire and to motivate conscious business leaders, conscious businesses to show up, to speak up. Like, we created this playground now, and we can just play, and we can really, really share this amazing, amazing and valuable yeah, wisdom, insights that could benefit, I would say, like businesses worldwide. So yeah, and Desiree, you see, there were some people watching. So thank you, Desiree. Amazing. Yeah, there's gonna be more of this. So
Happy to see people come by. That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
good thing.
perfect, perfect. So if anybody wants to check out the Conscious Business Scan, I will also post a link based on, I mean, below this video, and Simon, very much appreciated. Yeah, and you can check on which level your business is or you are, because it's a really, I was actually blown away, by this tool, and I'm really really happy to be a huge advocate, and to promote it. And so more and more people are using it, because I think yeah, it's here to make a difference. We are here to make a difference. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And have a beautiful day wherever you are. Bye, Henrik. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.